What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 88 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast here on YouTube. My name is Dave Knittel, here with my two brothers, Christian and Matt. Christian, how are things?
Can
No,
you see
don't
me
say
right
how are
now?
things. What?
Can you see me right now?
Well, all
No.
right. Hold on.
Is it just my picture?
No, yes, it's
Or you
just
can
your
actually
picture.
see? Oh, I don't know why it's doing that. It's really weird.
Ugh.
Okay.
Oh, YouTubers.
Oh, well.
Oh, who's that? Oh, he
Wait,
was here for a
come back.
second, then he's gone.
Here
Oh,
I
there he is.
am.
Okay.
Hello, people. This is me.
All right, there's
In case you
there's
didn't get that,
Christian.
yep.
Yep, there's Christian. Matt, say hello.
Hello. Sorry, as we started this live stream, I read the listener question about Arsenal and just started laughing.
Oh, man, I haven't seen it yet.
Little preview for everybody on YouTube, but we will get to that in a little bit. This is just our little welcome here. If you're watching live on YouTube, please feel free, say hello, interact with us as we go along here. I have the chat feature up here in the background, and everybody's prepared. We're going to cross our fingers, no technical issues. We've already...
It's really not looking sharp here.
yeah. So, yeah, we're just going to cross our fingers and pray, but we'll see how this goes. Christian, you good?
I'm great.
Matt, you good?
Yep.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 88 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, here with my two brothers, Christian and Matt, to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, hello. How are you doing today?
Dave, I could not be any better. What a day yesterday was for the soccer world. Just Liverpool winning, the Union were winning, and I went, and it was great. It's just things are going great, Dave, and I just can't complain about anything.
That's great.
How are things with you?
You got a nice tan as well, so you're looking good, feeling good. You know, things are just looking
when
good
do
for
I
you.
not look good?
Well, very true. Very true. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. We biked a little bit. We were exploring kind of the San Francisco area yesterday, Kristen and I, and, you know, just some things maybe on the horizon as far as changes for us. But, you know, we'll get to that maybe in the future. Matt, how are you doing?
Doing great, Dave. Thanks for asking. I'm actually a little exhausted. I did something athletic. I played basketball today, so first time in, a little bit. So I'm pretty exhausted right now.
That'll happen. That'll happen. Yeah, that's what comes as you get a little older. You know, you're 22 now. You know, starting to lose it,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, I was like sitting on the couch with my friends, and I was just like, I haven't done anything that would involve me sweating in quite some time. I was like, you guys want to go play basketball?
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it and all of that. Christian, do you have our trivia question for this week?
I do have our trivia question. My trivia question is, do you know which Premier League team has the highest net spend and which has made the most profit since 2014? There are only 12 teams, I think, that have existed during that time, like for every year.
Okay.
In the Premier League.
Yeah, I know what you meant, but it was just a funny way to say that.
Since 2014?
Yes.
Net spend.
Net spend.
Okay.
Net spend. So that's both spend and received. All right. And the difference between those for anyone out there who may not know, I just wanted to clarify there, you know, in case, you know, but also for myself, because, you know, just wanted to make sure. Okay. Before we get to our topics this week and before I turn it over to Matt for his segment, I want to give a quick plug for our partner, StadiumScene.tv. Stadium Scene is a website you want to go and check out before you go to any stadium in the US or Canada. They have reviews and recommendations on where to park, how to get to the stadium, things to do before and after the match, bars and restaurants. In addition to that, they partner with content creators like us, producing blog posts, videos on YouTube, podcasts, everything. Go check them out. StadiumScene.tv, all kinds of awesome stuff on there. You like that, Christian?
All I could think of when you said, I can't even remember what you said at this point because all I could think about is the quote from Friends. But when Joey is practicing to be the minister.
Yeah, I'm a minister.
Yeah. No, he goes... And the love that they have is based on giving and having and sharing and receiving. And he keeps saying it over and over again.
Yep. All right. So there you have it. So go check out StadiumScene.tv. Matt, over to you for for your segment here.
Okay, thanks, Dave. So Ozil kind of had a rough summer, and Arsenal didn't get off to the best start. And then Ozil this week was on the missing from the match sheet as he had an illness, but for some reason, and yeah, quotation marks illness. But as that kind of went on and people just started speculating for no reason, it's people are starting to think like, oh, so I don't want to say like this word because like depression's like a serious thing, but like he's been treated like so unfairly in the media and then switching managers and just like everything he's done for, his last like 10 years he put in to soccer, it's kind of just like blowing up in his face, it seems like the last like couple months. So Christian, do you think Ozil was actually sick, or do you think there could be something going on, in his life or in, his just like soccer life?
Well, it could be both. I think that he could have been sick, and it was just an excuse to get him out of the squad, but he just does not look sharp, and there looks like there is something definitely wrong. He's been going through a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, mentally he's just worn down. I don't know if I want to say that he's going through depression or anything, but something's definitely not right with him, and I think he needs to get that sorted out before he can really up his game back to the level that we kind of expect from him.
All right, fair enough, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speculate on the depression front, but I think star athletes are so put under this microscope and there's so much pressure put on them. And, a lot of times we just want to look at them as robots and think about them just like they don't have other things going on in their lives and stuff like that. And so, there is there's a human element to everybody. And I always try to highlight this whenever we talk about stuff like this. And so again, I don't want to speculate here, but he has gone through so much. I mean, he's come out and said it. He retired from the German national team because of the pressure and the pressure that the press put on him and the whole, Erdogan, the president of Turkey situation and all of that. And so he's clearly going through something right now. And I think it was probably good that, he gets some time away. Hopefully he can reset and get back to him because he is a fantastic player. But he can be, a little bit of a mercurial type of player, a little bit of a head case. So hopefully he gets his head right.
Okay. And, my interpretation of it, it's just like, but people can like be on just like, have rest next to their name and people understand like he just came back from the World Cup. Like why put illness if he's not sick? Do you guys have a problem with lying about a player for like their personal reasons, like saying they're sick when really they just like needed a night with their family, or like how David Silva had that whole thing last year, like they're pretty upfront, but actually they were a little quiet about it at first, but then they were very upfront about it and it was big in the media. So, like, do you respect the club in that situation, or do you, like, think you deserve all the information at once?
I have no problem with that. I don't think that lying for the sake of the player's privacy is any issue. I think the club has that obligation to their players to protect them in situations like that. And they're probably doing everything they can to try and help out their players. So the media is going to try and pick up on everything, and they're going to try and release every information, and fans feel obligated, or not obligated, but they feel like they have this right to every bit of information on their players and their team. But that's not really true, as Dave always highlights, is they are people and they deserve to have their privacy when they need it. Yeah, and I think the club's doing well to protect that.
Yeah,
Sorry, I just interrupted you. I'm going to interrupt you again, apparently.
I interrupted you to start, so we're just interrupting each other. But no, I'm just going to echo what Christian said. Yeah, no, there is no obligation for the team to share every little bit of personal details. I'm fine with them just saying illness and keeping it general here.
Okay, fair enough.
Also, guys, in case all you people watching on YouTube are wondering, yes, I did relocate. Hey, I'm over here now.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay, moving on to Serie A.
That was the right response to that.
So, moving over to Serie A, I'm blanking on his name, but Bakayoko, the Chelsea defensive mid from last year, just made his debut at AC Milan, and he kind of continued his form that was at Chelsea from the prior year, which was not great. Let's just say that. And Gattuso came out after the game and was saying, well, you can't correct a player's defects in, in a week or something like that. And what's up, Christian?
Sorry, there's just breaking
Okay.
news. I don't know if you guys got that ESPN alert.
No, what's up?
No.
Apparently, I really like what they just did, and we brought up Genoa last week, so I wanted to bring it up again. Their fans stayed silent for 43 minutes during the game today in honor of the 43 people who died last week. So that's just a massive shout out to them again.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was cool. I think that's really cool.
Yes,
I just wanted to throw that out there, and I would have forgotten.
Thanks for interrupting, Matt. Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, okay, back to Bakayoko. Yeah, it's a great gesture for Serie A.
Yeah.
But back to Bakayoko. Do you think that it's like he'll be able to recover like with the manager? Do you think managers that like pressure the players or will say something bad about them in the media, do you think that helps like at all? Like, do you see situations where that can be beneficial? Because like for me, like I would like, what are you saying? Like when your manager just like says that about you week one that you have defects and they can't be corrected right away.
Oh, is that for me?
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah. So I, for the life of me, can never understand why a manager comes out and handles this in the press. Jimmy Conrad, actually, I'm listening to his new podcast on Barstool with Barstool Sam, and he was talking about how if a manager came to him and talked to him first before he went to the press, then he's okay with it. And Jimmy's coming from, obviously, he was a pro player, U.S. national team player. And so if Gattuso came to Bakayoko, talked to him first and let him know these things before going public with it, I think Bakayoko can somewhat understand it. But if Gattuso just went to the press, said all these kind of crushing things to him and his confidence, I don't know how that could possibly benefit him. I mean, players have so much pressure they're being put under, and just adding a layer of not whatever the opposite of confidence is. I can't think right now, but doing the exact opposite of giving him confidence can only make him a worse player, in my opinion. So that's
criticism.
Where I come from.
In confidence.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, and I knew that wasn't right, so I decided not to say it. Christian?
Okay, cool, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with doing this at all, ever, especially after one game. Milan played really well up until, the second half when they just collapsed against Napoli. Well, Napoli are a very good team, so it's hard to just criticize a guy who's coming into a brand new league, even if he didn't have a great opening game. He's got to get time to settle. We see it in the Premier League all the time where really good players come from other leagues, and it takes them a while to just get used to the flow of things because every league has a different style, and it's going to take him time to get used to the tactics that are taking place in Serie A. But Bakayoko, I think, is going to be a good player. I know he hasn't played well for Chelsea, and I know he didn't play well for AC Milan in his debut, but he has been moving around a lot, and it's hard to just build up that chemistry with players around you when you move and become a mercenary like that. He's not really Ibrahimovic and those types of players who can just walk into a team and be the star. So it's going to take him time, but I think he'll be fine. And I don't really love what Gattuso said.
Yeah, so for me in Gattuso's defense, I mean, they did just lose. They were up 2-0 and then blew that 2-0 lead to Napoli to go down 3-2. And like saying like Napoli's a good team, like I'm sure for Gattuso, like he's the coach of AC Milan. He played there for however many years. Like he won Champions Leagues there. AC Milan is, I guess, like I want to say like financially wise, still one of the top 5 clubs in the world, I think.
Oh, I don't know about the world. Yeah, I don't know about the world.
Really?
They're probably a top 3 team in Italy.
Yeah. I was probably thinking about
it might be top 5 in
probably
Italy.
Support.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, there's still a top, like one of
they're
the
big
clubs.
Yes, they're historically big.
They're huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
So I think for him and for like the AC Milan fans, don't you kind of need somebody that expects a winning culture, not somebody that, brushes off a loss to Napoli?
Yeah, but it's one thing to expect a winning culture. Pep expects a winning culture, but he never throws players under the bus. And so it's fine to expect and demand a ton out of your players, but you do that privately. You do that one-on-one or in front of the team. You don't do it publicly and just throw a guy under the bus. And so that's where I come down on that.
Yeah, and Gattuso is somebody who is a very fiery personality, so he gets caught up in his emotions, and I'm sure he just said something immediately. I think this happened. He's being questioned. It wasn't like he waited 2 days, and then, well, I guess it's only been a day, so he definitely didn't wait 2 days. But he, in the moment, you always just like you feel that fiery passion about your team, and when you lose in the way that he did, he probably was just really upset. And why are you laughing?
Because I just think of that press conference of him just some days maybe good, some days maybe shit. So like he's just like
he is that type of person though.
Yeah,
like, he's just tell it as it is kind of guy, and sometimes that is good to have as a manager, and players respect it. But I think that in handling the media, he still has a lot of progressing to do.
Okay, fair enough. But last topic I want to talk about here is for you guys, Liverpool. You had goalie kind of troubles the last 3-4 years, maybe.
Since Reina left.
Yeah. So, Mignolet was made out to be like the worst keeper in the league 2 years ago by like Liverpool fans for all his mistakes. And then when Karius came, I know like Liverpool fans kind of supported him up until the end, where things really went wrong there. But it's so strange how this summer Simona Mignolet, when the media was saying how he has loan deals lined up for him, and Simon and
it's fine. Christian, just ignore it for once.
And so like he has like loan deals up, and Liverpool are saying it doesn't work for the club, but then Karius was allowed to leave right away to go to Besiktas, and it's strange. Like I don't know how like the contracts work, because my only knowledge of how contracts works comes kind of through FIFA, where it's like, oh, what squad role do you want? And for a goalkeeper, if you put crucial, they expect to play, and like I'm sure that's what Mignolet was expecting when he came, but why why is he forced to be the bench player now? And do you guys have a problem with that as Liverpool fans?
Okay. Yeah, I don't really have a problem with him being on the bench. I don't think he deserves to be starting at a top club in England. I don't think he's that high of a quality goalkeeper. I think he's very good to have on the bench. I think similar to how you feel about Caballero, he's not a starter, but he's a guy who can play the role if he needs to here and there. And I don't know why he has this sense of entitlement. I understand he wants to have game minutes, and just he's 30 years old now, and he wants to be playing as much as he can because he doesn't have much time left in his career, probably another 7 or 8 years for a goalkeeper at this level. What? Do you not agree with that?
It's a decent amount of time.
It is, but he's just sitting on the bench. He has been for the last 2 years now.
Yeah.
So it's something that he just expects to be getting time and competing, but I don't think that he can compete with Alisson, who we brought in. He's an exceptional goalkeeper, even though his footwork was making me nervous every second of my life so far. I think that he's a really, really good shot stopper and just looks like he commands an area really well. Mignolet isn't that, but I do agree that Mignolet probably should have gotten the opportunity to leave first. However, it sounds like the club probably knew Karius was going to be leaving, and so that's why they didn't let him leave. They didn't keep Danny Ward either. They let him leave, so we can't be getting rid of 3 of our 4 goalkeepers, and the other 2 have already left. So, I mean, it sucks for Mignolet, but he has to fill his role. He has a contract.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much else to add beyond that. I mean, Liverpool has to do what's best for them as a club, and with Ward and Karius leaving, Mignolet couldn't leave at that point. And so, I don't really know what else there really is to do or say. So that's the end of me talking.
Thanks, Dave.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Dave. Okay, but like you guys don't care. I mean, he's the backups right now.
I mean, so I would rather have Karius, to be completely honest. I'd rather have him being our backup, but I think he needed to get out of the club to get his head right and find his confidence again, because he wasn't going to at Liverpool.
Again, spot on there. That's pretty much what I would have said. So good job, Christian.
Thanks,
I think I agree with you guys. So yeah, we can wrap up Matt's. We never came up with the name for my segment. So
come up with it right now.
Here on this
right now, quick.
Matt's time on this podcast.
Matt's time here.
All right, here's some music, and we'll be right back.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, well, that'll be the name of this section
That's
moving
time
forward.
here.
All right, yeah, I got to come up. All right, sweet. That was under 15 minutes. Good job, Matt. Nope. How do I reset
wow.
this?
Hell of a performance.
Yes. How about the performance by both of you? I didn't have to say too much on the last one, and we kept it
It
moving.
was great.
Good job.
Great. We didn't have to hear from Dave too much.
Yeah.
It was just the
Hi, hon.
best.
Welcome
Dave's
home.
gonna have to come up with his
Hi.
own podcast.
Hi, Kristen. Hi.
Matt says hello.
Oh, wow. What a
Matt.
dick.
Christian definitely didn't say hi.
He definitely didn't, for sure. Yeah. Like, she won't listen to the podcast and hear this later, huh?
Kristen said, hey, Matt.
Oh.
All right. We like to have fun here. We have 0 viewers on YouTube.
Probably
so,
a good thing. Yeah.
we had somebody earlier, some Arsenal fan was had some pretty good comments. So just wanted to circle back here.
What about Ozil?
I think the Ozil situation is a complicated one. One we as fans cannot fully understand from the outside. I think the club is protecting him in some way and don't believe that Emery is freezing him out. He's a talented player, and that has been proven time and time again. So yeah, I think that's pretty well said there.
Yeah.
Okay, Christian.
Good lad.
Yeah, good lad. Christian, you good to welcome us back and jump into your section?
I'm so ready for Christian's Corner. You don't even know.
All right. Let me get the timer started and then over to you. All right. Boom.
Welcome back, everybody. It is time for Christian's Corner. It's me, Christian. All right. So we're going to hop right into these topics here, Dave and Matt, if you're ready to go. You guys ready?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go. Matt, how about you? Yeah, Matt's good. All right, let's go. All right, so first topic I wanted to discuss here was Hugo Lloris, the Tottenham and France goalkeeper. He was caught, for Americans, we call this drunk driving or driving under the influence. In England, they call it drink driving, which is a whole other thing I would like to discuss later. But let's focus on Lloris for now. So he... 3 days before the Manchester United match, which is tomorrow, was arrested for being intoxicated behind the wheel. His court date is for September 11th, so we won't know anything up until that point. Do you think the club has to do something now to punish him? I'll start with Dave, but hold on. Does the club have to act now? Sorry, I wanted to... Okay,
that's fine. Ask your questions.
Just go.
No. Ask your questions.
No. You go. I'll just start one at a time. Go ahead.
Okay.
Does the club have to act now and do something about this?
This is always a tricky situation because you're innocent until proven guilty in most Western societies. So it's tough for me to come out and say the club absolutely needs to clamp down on this. I don't know all of the exact details. I don't know if he was given a breathalyzer and if all those details have come out. And how much the club knows.
Failed a breathalyzer test.
He failed a breathalyzer test. So, I mean...
At 2:20 a.m.
Yeah. But again, so I want to say that everybody's entitled to due process and they should be innocent until proven guilty. And then, the ramifications should come from that. But
Team
but
Ramrod.
it's tough. Yeah, Team Ramrod. It's tough. It's tough here. So I'd be fine either way. I'd be fine with letting the due process take its toll and then, coming down with punishment after the fact. But I'd also be fine with the team saying he needs to be suspended until, we figure out if he is guilty or not. So that's kind of where I come down on it.
All right. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, well, we got to wait to see. I guess innocent until proven guilty. But if he failed the breathalyzer, sorry, I was trying to put this together with what happened with Yaya Toure from a couple years ago. I think it was 2016, and I was trying to see what City did, as the club.
Because Bobby Firmino did the same thing last year, and they didn't react until he was proven guilty. And I don't even think they did anything other than fine him.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing here is he was fined £54,000 and then 1 week's wages, and then got his driver's license, but it doesn't say anything about a suspension. So if that's the culture over there, or not the culture, but how you deal with it,
the precedent.
Yeah. So I'm fine with Tottenham, not coming out and addressing this immediately. Handling this behind somewhat closed doors. I'm fine with not hearing too much about this right now.
Yeah, and I will say we have friends over in England, and they've kind of let us know in the past that there really isn't much of a drinking and driving. Like I don't want to say culture or whatnot, because in America, because it's a car culture and everybody drives everywhere, there is a lot more kind of DUIs happening here. Over there, with public transport so readily available, this doesn't happen very often. So when people get caught kind of for doing this, I think it is a bigger deal than kind of it is here. But I could be wrong with that. I just wanted to throw that out there. Christian, sorry, back to you.
No, that's all right. Yeah, so I guess you guys don't really see that any action needs to be taken yet. That's what it kind of seems like you guys are saying.
So for me, it's more like let the legal process take its course, and then if he's found guilty, then come down on him. But I think I would be fine.
It's not something that like it looks like it's clearly an issue and that he should be suspended until like the court ruling happened, because I know the court ruling is only in 2 weeks. So do you say he's suspended? He can go on his international. I don't even know. Is he allowed to go to international duty if you're expected to be in court in 2 weeks?
I don't know. I don't know the legal process.
Yeah, makes sense, because usually you're not allowed to leave the country. I know in America, if you have a court date coming up.
Yeah,
So, yeah, you know me.
Yeah.
Always going to court.
I will say, I just want to throw this out there. I mean, he's a multi-million-dollar athlete. Like, this should never happen. Like, with the prevalence of taxi drivers,
why they try and drive.
It makes no
sense.
Uber. Yeah, like all of these, like this should never happen. So I do just want to make this very clear. I'm not excusing this in any way. Like, this should never happen for a professional athlete. This makes absolutely no sense. And so I don't want to excuse him in any way here, but I do want to just say, like, people have the right to the legal process. So that's kind of where I stand.
Absolutely.
Okay,
It makes no sense that people drink and drive in this day and age, especially when you have that amount of money or he could just get a driver. Like, there's no reason that he should be drinking and driving ever. Matt, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you guys about all that stuff. But for, somebody as big as he is, or like most of like the mega stars we talk about, I mean, he just won a World Cup and played for Tottenham.
I meant physically.
That was a hilarious joke.
It was hilarious.
Okay, yeah. So like, do you think like they don't want like an Uber or something? So then like you have to put in like your address and things like that. So like Uber drivers can just like get your address.
Yeah, but like there is like higher levels of Uber. Like he can get like a black car service like within Uber, or get an actual black car service like that is known for taking around famous people. Like it's not like he can pay a couple $100 or $1,000 for a ride home. It's worth it for him.
Okay, I don't think paying $1,000 for a ride home should be.
If he's going to be
how often are pro athletes drinking? I feel like it's not that often.
Yeah.
During the season, especially.
That's a good point.
Unless, yeah.
I wonder if that's also an issue that we don't really know about. Are they allowed to be drinking during the season? I mean, it could be an issue. I don't know. Pochettino might be dealing with that behind the scenes. We don't really know what's happening.
Yeah, I think every manager probably has different requirements on that front.
Okay.
I know Pep is pretty restrictive on the diets. I know Conte was famous for being pretty restrictive too. I wouldn't be surprised if Klopp is a little bit more lax about those types of things.
He probably goes out and gets wasted with them after every single game.
Yeah, so I think it probably depends on the manager. But these are professional athletes; they take care of their bodies and all of that. So,
all right, cool. Okay. Anything else you have to add, Matt?
No.
Dave?
Nope.
All right, next topic it is. All right, so my next two topics are kind of rekindling two topics from last week. So or not MLS, I don't know why I was going to say that, it's La Liga, is considering coming over to play a game a season in the USA. So we talked about that last week. This week we're talking a little bit more on the player side. They are discussing potential for striking because they are not happy about the decision. So nothing is official yet. This is a 15-year deal where they play a game every year. I think that the La Liga president has already said there will never be a Clásico over here. They don't want to ever do that. But still, it's a big deal, and La Liga players have the right to strike, I'm sure, and they can be upset about this. Dave, I'll go to you first. What do you think about them striking? Do you think that this is a good move? I know you weren't really happy about the deal, so I'll get your opinions first.
This is absolutely a good move. They weren't even consulted in all of this. Apparently, the league just came out and said, hey, we're playing a game over in North America once a year for the next 15 years. And this is what we agreed to. And we didn't involve you in any way. So absolutely, they have a right to strike and to make their unhappiness known. So yes, they absolutely have a right.
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think they have a right, especially because I saw like none of the captains on any team were consulted, and I'm sure like they're the ones that like probably has like attend whatever, like represent the club in whatever way. So I'm fine with how they reacted to this, and I don't like the idea in the first place. So
Yeah, so if they strike, do you think that it's actually going to make a difference, or are they just going to get like a pay raise? Do you think they're just going to try and quiet them down? Do you think they actually would change the deal that they've made with the U.S., Dave?
Is the deal officially finalized? I still don't think it's completely finalized. So because I think it still requires like U.S. soccer whatever approval, and I believe it still requires like FIFA approval. So this isn't an.
It was agreed. I don't know if that means there's a contract signed.
I think it was just agreed between Charlie Stilitano, who puts on the ICC Cup, and La Liga. Like, I think they agreed to enter into like discussions or whatnot. I don't think it's formally approved like all throughout all of the chains that it needs to be approved in. So I think they can still change this. And to be honest, I really hope they do, because, I listened to a lot of podcasts this week who brought up the fact that, I highlighted a lot of different things last week, but on top of it, fans have paid for season tickets, 2 matches. And so if you're a Getafe fan and you don't get to see Barcelona come to and play at Getafe this year, like that's a huge kind of deal. And so that's like really disappointing. Or if you're a Barcelona fan and you lose a home game, like that's really disappointing. And so I don't think it's fair to fans.
My guess is that
competition, I just do not like this anyway.
Yeah, I understand, but I don't think that Barcelona and Real Madrid will ever be the teams that come over here, because their brand is already big enough. I think this is to promote other brands.
No, 100%. It is either, I think it has to be, I think it's one of the 5 brands reading about it. It's Atletico, Barca, Real, I think Sevilla and Valencia were the 5 that are guaranteed to play over here. So yes, it absolutely has to be.
Or every year they're going to be
like
here.
The small teams.
Yeah, nobody's going to go see Alaves versus Rayo Vallecano or something like that.
Yeah.
Like those pronunciations?
Okay. It wasn't good.
No, I was pretty happy with those, so I'm okay with it.
There's no little switchy thing above the N in that one, so it's Vallecano. But it's cool. It's no worries. I understand. You were trying. It's Spanish. Anything else you guys have to add on this one? I know it's pretty quick topic here. Matt? No? Dave, you're good?
Nah, I'm good.
All right, my last topic, our favorite topic. Here we go. Napoli's president, at it again. Here he comes. He now is coming for his former manager. Current Chelsea manager, saying that he does not rate him highly. He doesn't rotate his players enough, saying that he's never really won a trophy, so why is he rated highly at all? Do you think that he's just being bitter because Sarri left? Do you think that he is right in saying any of this? Matt, I guess I'll start with you this time. Here we go.
So I don't know if he's like, the way we value trophies is so ridiculous, and how like that's the only way to measure success. Like Sarri is a good coach. Is he, the best? If you want to be the best, you probably do need silverware, but I think he's a good coach. I think Napoli had a good team, and maybe he could have won a trophy, but I mean, he pushed Juventus all the way to the end last year, almost won the league for the first, what has Juventus won? 7 in a row?
I think 7 at this point.
7.
Yeah, so, I mean, he showed that he knows what he's doing. Why is he even talking about it, the Napoli president? Like, he's at Chelsea, you have a great manager now. Like, well, why worry about this?
I agree. So I think it comes off looking like, sour grapes, or him just like, I don't know, just talking for the sake of talking. But I also do like that he's not giving just stock, candid answers, that like, we thank him for his time. He was a great manager, all the BS that everybody says, for about every manager they've ever had. I do kind of like that he's being... Yeah, exactly. I do like that he's kind of being real. I think it makes him look kind of petty to an extent, but again, it's tough for me to fault him because he's just being real about it. And so like gives us something to talk about and it's something interesting. So it's tough for me to fault him too much, but he does look like kind of petty in all of this.
Yeah, his exact quote. Oh, first of all, I'll say his name since we kind of skipped over that. And I don't know if we've actually ever said his name on this podcast. It's Aurelio De Laurentiis, and that's the pronunciation, Dave. That's how you do it. So his actual quote was, we'll just skip by that aside because he said something before, but ignore that piece. There were errors in judgment throughout the season, the ability to be able to use the squad fully. Still, I don't want to get into a technical speech or reopen any wounds that have not healed. It sounds like you did, though. It really sounds like you want to reopen some stuff because all you do is talk about stuff that's happened in the past to you. Matt?
Yeah, I mean...
Well, that wasn't really a question. You're just
I agree. It's petty. Yeah, I mean, my thoughts... I'll express my thoughts.
Like, do you think that he's stuck in the past and, like, not moving forward? I know you addressed Ancelotti is a world-class manager. Why can't he just be happy with what he's got?
He still has a trophy. Maybe he'll shut up when he gets that trophy.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Dave, any thoughts?
No, not really. I mean, nothing else to really add. I like that he's kind of speaking his mind, but it makes him look petty. So so that's where I come down.
He also apparently was talking about Cavani, and they have been targeting Cavani, and the dogs are barking. Just they have a lot of opinions on this too. Yeah. So I don't know if you heard them, but they're trying to chime in the background. Yeah, backs and keep.
He was at Napoli a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, that's where he came from.
Yeah, he's trying to get Cavani to lower his wage that he's receiving for PSG so that they can bring him back because they're looking for a striker. I feel like Napoli never really has a clear striker. Most of their players are wingers or creative midfielders that they just use as a front three. But Cavani would be a huge addition for them. And do you think that Cavani should lower his wage? I know that their president is just De Laurentiis is still hardcore in the public trying to exert his will onto the players that way. I don't really think that this is a good idea, Matt. What do you think?
For Cavani or Napoli?
Cavani and his, I guess, promotion of trying to get him to lower his wage.
For him, I don't think it would make much sense unless he was like extremely unhappy at PSG. I mean, like the last thing he really needs to win would probably be like the Champions League at the club level that like he would really need to win. And I think PSG provides him with the better opportunity to do that. And I mean, he's making more money, so he's probably a little happy.
Probably. Dave, do you think that this is a good idea from De Laurentiis to go into the media trying to reach out to Cavani?
I don't personally think so. I mean, no, I do not think so. And I also don't think Cavani should lower his wage if somebody's willing to pay him that. Like Matt said, if he's happy in Paris, he's a better chance to win there, I think, with the players that he's surrounded with. I do not like this tactic from De Laurentiis.
I mean, I won't really go into Cavani, but I don't know how happy he really is considering he butt heads with Neymar, and Mbappe is now taken over as kind of one of the stars too. So he's kind of become an afterthought. But if he's still winning trophies and if he is happy there playing his role, then good for him. And I don't think that he should leave either. Anything else you have to add on this or any of the other topics we've discussed here, Matt?
No, I think I'm good.
No, you're good. All right. Dave, how about you?
I'm good.
All right. So that wraps up Christian's Corner. I hope you had fun. Thanks for stopping by. Listen to this music, and Dave's going to take us away in the third and final segment.
Good stuff.
Where were we at?
I really wanted
17:30.
That's good.
How ridiculous the Yaya Toure drunk driving story actually was. Where he said he was unintentionally drunk because he didn't know there was brandy in the Coke.
Well, he doesn't drink alcohol because he's Muslim. So he could theoretically have been telling the truth. But it sounds weird. But yeah, he's Muslim. He doesn't drink
Same.
alcohol.
I get that. That happens to me all the time. I'm just like, whoa, there was alcohol in that? That's crazy.
I think Embiid says that too, but like, see videos of him drunk all the time.
Yeah. People said, like, John was at the bar and with him, and he was drunk. And he says
With
he never
Yaya
drinks.
Toure?
No, not Yaya Toure. Joel Embiid.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
a 76ers basketball player for all those who are watching and don't know who that is.
All right, there you
And
go.
would have been a Cameroonian striker if he didn't play basketball, as he says.
Dude, that bicycle kick attempt was absurd. It was pretty athletic for somebody who's like 7'2".
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, him playing pickup in Cameroon. All right. You want me to take us home here? Talking Lazio forbidding women supporters from the first 10 rows of their supporter section, and then Austin FC logo.
I have not seen that, so hold on one second.
Matt, have you seen the logo?
Maybe.
Guys. Baxter and Keep have seen the logo, clearly.
Yeah, they have a lot to say today.
Okay. Am I waiting for you guys to get this up? It's a tree.
Probably.
That's
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah,
Oh, I
it's
see
in the email that I sent.
It's the tree of life.
Yeah.
So it's like the Portland Timbers.
No.
Not really. Okay, we good? Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, to the third and final segment. I don't have a fancy name, so I'm just going to call this Dave's. Just Dave's. Welcome to Dave's. No, it's just Dave's. Welcome to Dave's. Like Dave's Bar, Dave's Pub. No, it's just Dave's. First segment we're talking about here is Lazio supporters. So we're sticking in Italy from Christian's last segment, but Lazio supporters have, I don't know if it was one specific group. I think it was just one specific group, but they sent a letter around basically forbidding women, wives, girlfriends from the first 10 rows of their Corva Nord, which is where the most hardcore supporters section, people are. So they've banned women from the first 10 rows of their section. Christian, your thoughts on the Lazio supporters doing this?
That's just awful. I really hate that they do that. I've seen women, I've seen anyone who's just as passionate about their team and their support. Some of the women that are at the Union games that I go to are the loudest ones and are really into the chants and have a great time and are really going wild. So I can't believe they would do this. It just makes no sense to me. And it's kind of aggravating and annoying and makes me a little angry.
Matt, your thoughts on the supporters doing this?
Yeah, I agree with Christian. I mean, it doesn't mean women are any less passionate or, don't care as much, but they're also entitled to, the same exact, like, why am I blanking on the word? But like,
rights.
No, yeah, rights. But just like the same exact
treatment. What word are you looking for? I'm trying.
Opportunities.
Just like
opportunities.
Treatment of just seeing the game. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they should be going. Oh, sure. I mean, opportunities. Sure, let's go with that. But yeah, I mean, like Christian said, I'm sure we all agree. It's horrible, and I can't believe that it's allowed.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the team came out and said this is just like a subset of fans. It doesn't reflect everybody. But like they really didn't come down hard on this. They basically just said like we didn't have anything to do with it and kind of like dusted their hands of this whole situation. Should Lazio have done something more to in response to this, Christian?
Yeah.
So what should they have done?
Just no, that's not a thing. Like, no, they can go there. That's ridiculous. They're the ones who have the tickets to sell. And I guess that they're already sold to the supporter section, so the supporter section gets to resell them. Is that what you think is happening?
No, I think what happens in Italy, it's very political, and the ultra fan groups hold a lot of political sway, and so the leaders of a club tend to want to be in the good graces of the hardcore supporters groups, and so that's why there's this tension here. And so they don't always do what is necessarily right for the general public. They sometimes do what is right just for the hardcore fan group.
I still think that they would get more support from the general public just by doing the right thing in this specific instance.
Matt, do you think Lazio should have done more, and what should they have done?
Yeah, I think they should have done more. It would have been best for their public image and everything like that. And what should they do? They should just say, no, you can't do that, and let them sit wherever they want to sit. But I don't know, like, the political climate of Italy. Like, do women have equal rights with everything
Yeah, I believe
in
so.
Italy?
I think so.
Then how is this legal? Like, I'm saying, like, couldn't this be taken to a more, like, legal matter if, institutions are...
I'm sure somebody
not
could take it
giving
to that.
people,
I just don't
patrons,
know. I don't know if they have a similar
equal
culture to
rights?
how I'm. Sorry, I'm just interrupting you. I don't know how similar it is to America, how like sensitive issues are, and how quickly people are to take it to court and like make their voices heard, because that is a thing in America. People like get really upset about things and want to take it to court. But I don't know if it's the same way in Italy. So maybe they're just kind of saying, okay, that's really messed up, but they're just going along with it.
We're a very litigious society. Hey, yo, there's a word for you.
Ooh, hey.
But
It's
also,
almost like you were with
a
lawyers
bunch
all
of
last
lawyers
weekend
last
or
weekend.
something.
Yeah, whoa, totally crazy. The ultra groups are, I mean, they're not full-blown criminal organizations, but I know a lot of times they have some shady things that they can kind of get into. So taking them to court isn't always kind of like an option. And so I know I'm speaking kind of generally and vaguely about this, and I don't know specifically with Lazio and
Are you afraid they're going to come
really
for you?
all of Italy. No. I just don't want to paint them in the wrong picture if I'm not saying things 100% correctly. But I know that like they had problems with, I think it was either fascism or Nazism or something. Like Lazio specifically, like their supporters groups have not really had a lot of good press recently, and so this might just be added on top of it. And I don't know if they necessarily care. So yeah, that's kind of my response to that, Matt. Anything else you wanted to add, Matt?
No, on this.
Christian?
No, I'm good.
All right, last topic I wanted to talk about here, Austin FC, which is potentially the Columbus Crew. Their owner, Anthony Precourt, may be moving the team from Columbus to Austin FC. And so he continues to sell season tickets for next year in Columbus while releasing promotional videos and things for Austin FC. And he's just kind of playing this like two-faced like look. And recently he came out and announced the new crest for Austin FC. It is green. It's mainly black. It's got green sort of accent colors in it. It's Austin FC, and it's got a big tree with fruits in it and 11 leaves. That's kind of high level logo. We have it linked in the podcast description and show notes if you want to go check that out. Matt, what are your thoughts on both Austin FC's kind of new logo and just the way Precourt is handling this whole potential move of the Columbus Crew?
Yeah, so I mean, the actual crest and the logo itself. If we go by crest or logo, is it interchangeable
or a badge?
I use it
There's
interchangeably.
words.
I use all three interchangeably.
Okay.
I'm sure there is differences, but I will not. I'm fine with any of them.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
So I'm gonna go with crest. Good word. Yeah, so I like the crest. I'm not quite sure about the trees. Like just because I was just in Texas, and like the last thing you think of when you hear Texas, like an oak tree. So like that's the only that's the only place I stand with the whole tree. But I mean, I don't get caught up too much on crests. And I think for the club, they have to look forward to their move and keep things going with the press to get people excited about the move, and and not just keep everything just Columbus until like one day they're just Austin oak trees.
Yeah. So the move isn't 100% confirmed either, but also it's like, I mean, is that fair to like, so Columbus, it's not 100% guaranteed that they're leaving Columbus. So yeah, I don't know. I did just want to make that clear.
Yeah. For that reason, it's, you can understand why the Crew fans would be getting upset, but for like the business aspect, like, I mean, it would make sense to look forward.
Yeah, I fucking hate everything about this. But Christian, your thoughts?
Okay.
Matt, sorry, what's up?
This actually, good Christian's thoughts. This would be an end comment.
Okay, Christian, your thoughts on?
Yeah, I really don't like the guy who owns Columbus and is moving to Austin. I think he's kind of fucked up for what he's doing right now. They clearly don't want to leave Columbus. Only he does, and like the fans there are pretty good, right? It's not like that there's no one going to the games. They have no supporters. I mean, I don't want to be in Columbus, so I understand the owner's point of view, but it is really messed up. And the fact that he's still selling season tickets really aggravates me that he's allowed to get away with that. Yeah, there's a chance that they don't move, I guess, and to do the day-to-day operations. Well, he's not doing it, but he has to have someone do day-to-day operations for the Columbus team. But he also has to start branding and generating some excitement in Austin just in case they move there. So I understand from his point of view and the business aspects of everything, he has to do both of these things. But from a fan and an outsider looking in, it just looks so fucked up. I think it's the wrong way to go morally. And I think that they really have to decide quickly whether they're going to stay or go, because it's now generating just confusion among all the fans in Austin and Columbus.
Agreed. So I just, on the specific crest, I actually kind of like the crest. I think it's cool kind of look.
I should have probably talked about the crest.
Well, no. This is a serious conversation, and we probably need to have a deeper conversation in the whole Columbus Crew. Maybe next week, like that'll just be my segment, because I have a lot of thoughts and things to say on it. On the actual crest, I think it's a cool crest. I like that it's green, and it's a shade of green that we don't really have in MLS. I like the color scheme of black and kind of the brighter green together. The oak trees are kind of messed up because it's the whole like putting down roots in the community, which is he's doing the exact opposite in Columbus. He's taking away them. So it was a weird sort of choice, but if you can get past that, I like the crest. I like it that it kind of blends the more intricate sort of elements along with the modern feel. Like it's not too ornate and too intricate, but it still has, you know, a bunch of different things in there with a lot of meaning, kind of similar to the Union crest, where it's got a lot of meaning kind of built into it. So I kind of like it from that perspective. But on the whole, I hate this whole Columbus might be losing their team. I can't, like, they're an original team from 1996. I hate that the league is just okay with this. And the league has been incredibly quiet on all of this. And this is just so messed up in so many ways. So that's kind of where I stand. Matt, I know you had something you wanted to say earlier.
Yeah, so this is like for in all sports, especially American sports, where teams do go to different cities. What do you guys think about the idea of, you know, keeping the same team name but changing the city and keeping the same kits? And you don't like that?
I don't like it. No.
Okay.
Christian?
I absolutely hate that. I think it needs to be completely rebranded if you're going to move to a new city.
Yeah, and I don't even like that it can move.
But then, like, for that city, you lose, you know, all those fans. Like, I'm trying to think, like, are the Columbus fans going to support Austin or, you know,
No.
Seattle Supersonics?
No, definitely
fans?
not.
Yeah, I know, but
why would they?
They don't have a team. They spent their entire, you know, fandom
probably like
picking
Cincinnati when they joined the league.
No, they won't like Cincinnati, but they shouldn't have to. That's where it comes from. Like, to be able to go to games for 22 years of the league's existence and then the team to just completely disappear. If the Union picked up tomorrow and moved to Austin or moved to wherever the hell, Nashville or wherever the next team is getting, I wouldn't support that new team. I'm a fan of Philadelphia because of that. I live in California now, but I don't support the Earthquakes, even though I can see the stadium from my apartment. It has nothing to do with like location. It has to do with like how I feel and you know, connected with the club. If they were to pick up and move, I wouldn't feel the same way. So yeah, no, I'm really against relocation and all of that. Christian, I know you wanted to say something earlier.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to actually talk about the crest for a second because I didn't get to mention it before. I really like the color scheme. I love green and I love the black background. It's just pretty simple. Looks like an oak tree in the dark of night. It's kind of cool. It's just like a shining light in the darkness, which I don't know if that's what they're going for, but I like that. That's how it appears to me. I like that they did the 11 leaves for players. I don't know how I feel about the 6-5 formation that they're going with on the tree. It doesn't really look like a good move as a soccer tactic, but it is a really cool logo. I think that the Austin name should be in green. It's in white. I don't really like that. I guess it's standing out as something different, but I think that's the only criticism I have of it. I really like the rest of it.
Awesome. Matt, anything else you want to add on this topic?
No.
Christian, before we get to our listener questions?
I'm ready for the questions, Dave.
All right, before we get to them, real quick, wanted to give 2 quick plugs. I'm the founder of FanFutsal, which is a simplified fantasy soccer website, fanfutsal.com. We have you select teams instead of players. Our scoring is simplified, but we still have strategy and lineup differentiation built into all of it. We have games featuring the 5 major European leagues as well as the 2 major North American leagues. Please go check out FanFutsal. Also have the Soccer Tavern, which is a YouTube channel making videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. Really recently released a video about the Rabona. So the whole backstory on, why it's called a Rabona and what the move even is if you don't know what it is. So go check that out. And we have, I think, 65 or so other videos about, Premier League club history, teams, other soccer terminology, history of the sport, why it's called soccer, all of that. So please go check out the Soccer Tavern. We have both those things linked in the video description. Listener questions here. First one comes from Jared_Hancock. Would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section. And he has it linked to, we will link to it in our podcast description, but it is basically a bunch of Manchester City players who he thinks would have made an impact at Man City before they, rebranded and brought all that money in. So the 4 players I think he has here are Jason Denayer, Nedum Unuoha. How do you say that? Unuoha, Stephen Stephen Ireland, and Joe. Matt, I know you're the Man City fan. Do you have thoughts on this from Jared?
Yeah, I'll go. I think of those players, I think the most excited I was Anua, the center back. I didn't even realize he's up to 31 now because he was kind of young, like when my fandom started. So it's just, I always knew him as like the up and coming guy, and he
Matt,
had
old.
a little bit of athleticism. He seemed like he could have had something that would make him special as a center back. Denayer, I mean, he never really excited me when he played. Stephen Ireland, he didn't even like soccer, apparently, from reports. It was like I saw a list of it was like the 10 players that absolutely hate soccer, and like the professional players that hate soccer. And he's like apparently doesn't follow the game at all.
Asu Akata is on
that's
there,
who
right?
I was thinking. Yeah, Benoit Suakato.
Yeah, and Joe. I mean, Brazilian players that he had as much skill, but consistency at the top level is important. So if you're not consistent,
Christian, any thoughts on this?
I remember Anuaha. I thought he was a really solid player, and he could have made an impact at City. But I think that there were better players brought in, and rightfully they brought them in and integrated them and made a better team. Denayer is another one who was a good player, but was never like a breakout star. Stephen Ireland is a player who I think could have been a very, very good player for a long time. They traded him for Milner, I remember, and I think and some money. That's the trade between Aston Villa and them. And I think that paid off more than keeping him would have. I think Milner is an incredible player, and at 32, it still has a ridiculous engine and still is playing a big role at Liverpool now. And he was a big part of the City team. I know he didn't start a lot of the times, but he was a big role player for them. So he was very important, and Stephen Ireland got brushed aside for that. And Joe Hart he was very, very good. But he then was not very good very quickly. So
yeah, it wasn't Joe Hart, but that's fine. It was
who'd you
Brazilian
say? You said Joe.
Yeah, just Joe. The Brazilian.
Oh, wow. You said Joe, and I just in my head was like, I don't know why he didn't say Hart.
Okay. Well, yeah. Any thoughts real quick?
Regardless. Yeah, Joe was very average in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Next question comes from @soccer mostly. What are the chances that Arsenal are actually relegated? I think that this is kind of a ridiculous question, but Christian, your thoughts on Arsenal actually being relegated chances?
It would be hilarious, but no way.
Do you want to put a percentage on it?
0.12%. Actually, no, 0.04%.
Matt, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'll do 0.0000.
Make sure to put a 4 in there. No, make a 4 in there. You got to make sure there's a 4.
Yeah, 4.
Okay.
1 4.
Right. Yeah, I'll say less than 1% as well. I'll say 0.4 to keep along with that theme. It's incredibly unlikely. The roster is just way too talented, and deep. There's plenty of other teams that are going to do much worse. So
this was probably asked before they won, right?
Yeah, this was asked before they beat West Ham. So yeah, on top of beating West Ham, I don't think there's any chance. Kerr C17, his question was definitely got to talk about Mourinho versus Pogba and maybe some roster talk for the U.S. roster. I think we'll talk about that next week once the international break happens. But Mourinho versus Pogba, Matt, I don't know if you have thoughts on this. I know we've touched on it a bunch in recent podcasts. Anything else to add?
It's just kind of there's big personalities. I thought after last game, when they lost, who did they lose to?
Brighton.
Okay, neither of you are going to answer that.
Brighton.
Right.
Oh, Brighton. Okay. Yeah. So when they lost to Brighton, I saw like after the game, Pogba actually had a pretty good interview where they were asking him to like speak for like what did Mourinho say, and Pogba just kind of brushed off as like, oh, you just gotta ask the manager, and like he doesn't blame him, he doesn't talk for him. I thought it was like a professional way of saying like I don't want to talk about this guy. Let's move on. So I thought they don't like each other maybe, or they both have big personalities, but I think it's not like toxic yet.
Christian, thoughts? Anything else to add?
No, I don't think that their relationship is particularly good, but I don't think it's to a point where it's can't be saved either. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I don't think Mourinho is handling Pogba right tactically. So I think Pogba's a little upset about that.
Right, fair enough. Next question from @WorldHotspur. That's our friend Will. Go check out his blog, Tottenham Hotspur World, if you're a Spurs fan. His question was, will Burnley's foray into the Europa League cause them to be towards the relegation zone by the end of the season? Fear they don't have the depth to consistently play 2 matches a week. They only have 1 point through 2 Premier League matches. And did they lose today?
Yep. They lost today, 4-2.
Yeah, 4-2. Yep. So, Christian, thoughts on Burnley?
I think that they're going to be really close to relegation. I don't have them being relegated. I think I have them in like 15th place, but I think it's going to push them. And it doesn't look like Europa League is on their cards. They're probably going to get knocked out this week. So depending on how Turf Moor is doing after Thursday night, we'll see. But I think they're probably out to Olympiacos at this point, and they're not going to be really dealing with that other than I think that they're just not that great of a squad at this point.
Matt, thoughts?
Yeah, I think we all agree that Europa League would just hurt, would just like expose their lack of depth and ability to, play that many games. So I think they are going to struggle this year, but I don't think I could see them getting relegated. I think they have just enough talent to, stay up.
Yeah,
so
I have them
struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I have them finishing in 14th place, not suffering relegation. They are 3-1 down after the away leg to Olympiacos. Again, Christian highlighted that they're coming home to Turf Moor this week. Need a 2-0 home victory or, more than a 2-goal victory at home to get through to the next round. I will say, Burnley is almost never going to get back to Europe. It's tough for them to see getting back to Europe in the near future. So, to an extent, it's why not go for it? I get that, what is the point of coming in 12th every season in the Premier League? I get that they're the 12th best team in England, which has more than 2,000, teams and whatnot. There is something to be said from that, but there is also something to be said of when are you going to get the opportunity to go play in Europe, right?
Here's where I get a little
what do you feel
concerned with. I'd rather come in 12th in the Premier League and bring that money in than go for Europe and get relegated, because that is just an utter collapse as a team if that happens.
But just get 12th every year. What I'm saying is, from your ambition perspective, going for 12th every season, not winning any trophies, not getting into Europe, what's the point?
Well, I mean, I think everyone other than the top 6 has a chance to go for 7th every year or hope to win a cup. And that's really what people focus more on the cup to get into Europe than they do focusing on getting in 7th in the league.
But you get into Europe and then you treat it as I don't want to be here. I get it to an extent, but there's also this other piece of me, how often is Burnley and the players that are on Burnley going to have another chance to play in Europe?
They're acting like they don't want to be there.
No, you're saying that it would be good for them if they don't qualify for Europe, and that would be.
I think it'll be good for them in terms of staying in the Premier League. I don't think it'd be good for them as a club.
All right, fair enough. Matt, anything else to add here?
No, I think with Christian, I kind of agree with Christian where, in the long term, it makes more sense to stay up, and that's your main concern. But I mean, I get what you're saying. It's the coolest experience they might ever have. of being able to play these teams all over Europe. So yeah, see both sides, but Christian's probably just more cautious and it makes probably better business sense.
Yeah, fair enough. Last question from at Shopa AJ. That's our friend Anthony, aka I think Young Leg is what he goes by. Are Wolves the real deal, or is it just hard luck for City? I know they drew 1-1. Matt, quick thoughts on Wolves?
Well, I think nice dogs. I think that Wolves, but I think that Wolves are good. I don't think this weekend really showed me anything different than what I already knew. It was the away game. We knew the talent they had. I thought they could be pushing for a top half team. I don't know where I had them in like my prediction, but I knew they were going to be a challenge for pretty much every team this year. So it didn't surprise me. City should have won, but they didn't, and Wolves also had created some chances. So it happens.
Christian, I hear your Wolves chiming in here. What are your thoughts on?
Oh my God, what a good one! I think that they are a very good team. I think they're a team that's going to finish in the top half, if not very, very close to it. But I don't think that they're a team that's actually going to trouble any of the top 6 teams. Maybe on their day they can, but they're not going to be consistent enough to break through and really challenge those top teams.
Yeah, so I would put them as a real deal. I have them finishing 10th, and I think they can still be a top half of the table team. But depending on your definition of real deal, no, they're not going to be challenging for the top 6, and they might be challenging for that 7th spot in Europa League, but we'll see. Christian, do you want to recap our trivia question, and we'll give our guesses?
Dave, I would love to recap the trivia question. This week, our trivia question is, since 2014 in the Premier League, which team has the highest net spend, so the lowest profit, if you want to think about it that way, and which team has the highest profit or lowest net spend, and they actually did make profit. So I'll throw that in there.
I have my guesses. Matt, you want to give yours?
Okay, so I'm thinking, nice yawn there.
Yeah, as you're done with your yawn.
Yeah, I know it's probably close between City and United, but I'd say the net spend since 2014, I'm going to say United. And profit, Liverpool. Was there another one? Was there another question?
That was it.
No, that was it.
Would you like to guess an amount? You can if you would like.
$4 billion.
$4 billion, right.
All right, that's great. So my guess is Tottenham is the profit and City is the deficit.
City is the deficit, so good job. Southampton have brought in the most money.
Oh,
and
that
they
makes
have
sense.
I think $71 million in profit on players, which is pretty crazy.
That is, congrats to them.
And I think City were, let me pull it up, sorry, because I had to record on my phone today because we were having iPad issues. So just give me 1 second. And I'm getting my face right now if you're watching on YouTube. I really apologize about
transfers?
that.
Yes, this is profit through transfers, Matt.
So Southampton brought in $71 million in profit. City have spent $496 million. Pounds. That's all in pounds.
Oh my goodness. That's a wow.
Yeah, they've only sold $197 million and spent $693 million in the last 4 years.
Wow. Nice. That's impressive. Okay, so there you have it, listeners.
Swansea were the other team that have a profit as well. Only 2. Sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
That's great. So thank you, Christian, for that. Listeners, hopefully you did well on the trivia question and enjoyed it because I know we all did. If you like what we're doing here, please leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you listen to us on. We have 7 reviews on iTunes, all 5 stars, which we amazingly appreciate, and our listeners have been ticking up. I don't know if they're related. I assume that they are, so we really appreciate that. And if you could leave a review and let us know what you like about us, that would be amazing. I'm going to get really sappy here real quick. Over the last 2 years, I left my regular kind of corporate job almost about 2 years ago to work on Fan Futsal and this podcast and the Soccer Tavern. I have not made a single dollar since leaving my job in 2016, my corporate job, I should say. Over the past week or two, we had some people actually use our affiliate store link on our podcast store, and I've made money for the first time in 2 years. So I can't tell you how much that really means to us, and I just greatly appreciate it. Christian and Matt, I want to thank you guys for everything you've done. It's only a start. It was only a couple dollars, but really, I just can't tell you how much it means to us listeners. Thank you all for your support, and most importantly, I just want to thank my wife, Kristen. Without her, I wouldn't be able to do any of this. So, Kristen, I love you and thank you for that. Listeners, we love you too and appreciate all of that. If you want to get in contact with us, Christian, you have something you would like to say.
Yeah, you didn't mention the store, like how to get to it.
I'm getting
it's on Amazon. Okay,
yep.
Sorry.
I'm getting to it. Yeah, I just wanted to give
trying to help you out, Dave, because you looked like you were going to cry and you were forgetting some stuff. So
no. Tears are in my body where they'll hopefully stay. If you want to get in contact with us, everybody, our Twitter handle is @BTSoccerPod. We're sending tweets on there, mainly Christian and I. Matt is doing his own thing, but Christian had a great tweet during the City match this past weekend, but we're tweeting on there. Follow us @BTSoccerPod. If you want to get in contact with us via email, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Our website, which Christian was talking about earlier, is brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. You can read about us, check out past episodes, and visit our store. So if you want to support the show, go to our website and click on the store link. Click onto Amazon. If you are buying anything on Amazon, if you click off that link, no additional cost to you. It's just a couple extra steps, a few extra seconds of your time. We get a very, very small percentage of whatever you buy, no additional cost, and it helps us kind of support the show and keep all of this going. So that would just, we'd greatly appreciate that, and that would just be awesome if you could do that for us. And so that is it for the show this week. Listeners, thank you so much for being here. Christian, thanks for being here.
Thank you, David.
Matt, thank you for being here.
Oh, well, thanks.
And everybody, we thank you so much for tuning in. We will talk to you next week. See you, everybody. All right, people on YouTube, deuces. Thanks for being here.